Too bad. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but Brittany Wilmore covered it last hour. John Bon Jovi, of all people, is getting a lot of attention this morning about an incident that happened in Nashville, Tennessee. So we're looking at surveillance video from a pedestrian bridge in Nashville. Bon Jovi was on a photo shoot, and a person that he was with saw a woman who was on the outside of the bridge, right, hanging over the bridge. And you see what they did there. They talked to her. They were able to help eventually get that woman back to safety, and it's quite remarkable. And as you look at the video, one of the things that you don't see in this particular clip, though, but this is a shorter version of a longer clip, is there were people who sort of passed by this woman who was in distress and did not take it upon themselves to help her out. Bon Jovi, again, on the other side, and he and his team walked over to help her. So this comes interestingly enough, during what is National Suicide Prevention Month. And we wanted to talk to a local expert on this topic and kind of just go over what you're seeing happening in Nashville and, maybe ask about how you and I might be able to respond if we found ourselves in a position to help someone who is in crisis. So joining me now to talk about this is Tiffany Bittner, Director of Suicide Care Initiatives at the Harris Center. Thank you so much, Brittany, for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
So I saw this video yesterday, and I saw the story come out, and then I saw the video of what was going on, and it does seem remarkable to me. And I was just wondering, when you saw it, if you've had a chance to take a look at it, what were your initial thoughts when you saw this?
I think everything in you obviously is kind of like what you said. You see so many people pass by, right? And you're going, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? And then just to see someone be able to take time out of what they're doing and care enough to say, hey, I'm going to put my stuff aside so that I can help this person. I mean, that's a remarkable thing. And I feel like we need to see more of that in society, right? And pay more attention to each other and bring out that kind of human side of us more than we do sometimes, because we're so busy in our daily lives. And a lot of times we don't even see what's going on around us.
Yeah, that's right. One of the people that went by was on a bicycle. I could kind of excuse that person for, maybe not looking
right.
over anything. He's on a bicycle. He's going around his busy day. But there was a family also, and maybe you could excuse them as well. I mean, you don't know what's going on. But one of the things that
Sure.
I saw also in looking at this video was kind of remarkable was Bon Jovi and his team, they don't run over there. They don't make any sort of like, I don't know what you would call alarming or threatening or move. They just calmly, casually walk over and just begin to have a conversation with this person. Is that the right way to handle something like this?
Absolutely. I think that when you treat people in a way that's human and respectful and try to have that conversation, it's obviously much less startling. I think it's much more respectful, and people are more likely to respond when you just kind of treat them in a space that's normal and like, hey, let's talk. If you run over and cause a scene, it can make people kind of react really in a quick manner. So really trying to be open and just have that conversation and go and start that conversation in a calm, respectful, polite manner. Is really the best way to go about that.
Yeah, it almost seems like this is a very just sort of a casual occurrence. And one of the things I've learned about Bon Jovi, I didn't realize this, he's actually done some things, set up a foundation to help people out in different situations. So maybe he had a little bit more training than we know. We've reached out to him and his team to try to kind of talk us through what was going on there. But for all of us, just regular in our lives, what should we be thinking about or doing if we see something in this situation? Would it be call 911? Would it be to try to walk over and have a conversation? What would you tell someone, or all of us rather, if we were ever to encounter a situation like this ourselves?
I think the first thing is you always keep in mind, if you see something, say something. Education is definitely key. Educating ourselves on what to look for, right? And how to kind of spot those signs, especially in the people that we're closest to. And those that we love. But as far as, what's the best step, sometimes that's going to be situation by situation, but remaining calm, calling 911, obviously, if there's an immediate crisis where you see someone's in imminent danger of harming themselves or harming someone else, calling 911 to get help out there. If it's a family member, we have 988. At the Harris Center, we're one of the facilities that actually answers for 988. And so calling that crisis line, if someone is having a bad day or someone's in trouble, calling that number to try to get plugged into those resources there as well. But really being okay with starting the conversation. I think oftentimes we we want to help people, but we don't know how to start that conversation. We don't know what the result of that conversation is, right? Because we know that if we ask a question, we need to be able to handle what the response is. And so really being calm and understanding how to start the conversation and listen is going to be the best way to kind of get into that space with somebody that's not necessarily comfortable.
No doubt about it. And this clearly was a bit of an extreme situation. You know, we're not expecting to walk across a pedestrian bridge and encounter something like this, or drive across a bridge and encounter something like this. You're far more likely to encounter someone who you know, someone who you love, who might be going through something. And it is what you say and do in those moments, those private moments, when things don't look like they're sort of an imminent danger, but there might be imminent danger, that people can really start to have an impact and an effect. Tell us a little bit about that as we are in sort of the middle of Suicide Prevention Month.
Yeah, so we have an acronym at the Harris Center that we use, and it's called, we say Live to Prevent. This month we actually said Live to Recover because it's National Recovery Month as well. But LIVE stands for Listen, Intervene, Validate, and Encourage. And that really encompasses everything that we need to do if we are trying to talk to people about their feelings and their thoughts. So listening non-judgmentally, listening to understand, not to necessarily respond. Many people just want to be heard. They need to feel like someone cares enough to take the time to listen to them. Intervene. What steps can we take to keep them safe in that moment? Are we giving them the 988 hotline? Are we helping them call that themselves? Are we taking them to the nearest emergency room? Do we need to call 911 because there is an imminent threat and we need someone right this second? The Harris Center also has crisis teams, mobile crisis teams. When you call our crisis line at 713-970-7000, we can actually send mobile crisis teams to that space. So how are we intervening in that moment to help keep someone safe? Validating for them, making sure they understand that we know it takes courage to come to someone and talk about those feelings and talk about something that's not often talked about. And so thanking them for having the courage to speak to you about it and validating that their feelings are real, that it is okay not to be okay. It's okay to feel this way. And then finally, encouraging them to get that help, telling them that that's the best thing to do. We've got to get some help for you. I'm going to be here for you, and really encouraging that next step. When we can do that for people around us and for people that we love, we really open the door to have better open communication, and we're more likely to be able to have those conversations in our own lives when people see that we are not going to judge them and that we really do want to listen and care and help them.
And it does seem to me like we've done an awful lot of stories about the deteriorating mental health situation in a bunch of different groups. We talk about teens, we talk about young adults, that sort of thing. Is now more than ever, is it important for us to all recognize some of these signs of depression or maybe some of the signs of people having a crisis in our lives?
Absolutely, yes. We've seen those rates continue to rise. In 2022, the CDC reported that there was one suicide every 11 minutes. 49,000 suicides in 2022 in the nation. And so it's definitely a problem, and it's something we need to be recognizing. You know, if someone's talking about being a burden to their family, if someone's packing and giving away belongings, they are having extreme mood swings, right? They're having kind of those shifts. Maybe they're not enjoying the things that they used to enjoy. Used to go and play basketball with friends every day, and now they haven't gone in a week. It doesn't necessarily mean that person is having thoughts of suicide, but what that should tell us to do is, hey, let's start the conversation. Let's check in. Let's see how they're doing. And then also knowing those around you, because not all the time does someone go from happy to sad. Many times people can be sad, and then when they kind of have that plan of how they're going to get out of the situation they're in, they almost become calm. And so they have a change in that space. So really knowing those around you and really being kind. It just like in this situation, he may not have known this woman, but he saw that something seemed off, and he was willing to walk over and just have the conversation and be kind and bring that humanity back and say, hey, something looks off here. I'm just going to check and make sure that it's okay. And that's what we really have to get back to. When we see something that doesn't seem right, how do we respond to that? And how can we just get back to that kind side and that humanity and just check in with people?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Tiffany Bittner, Director of Suicide Care Initiatives over at the Harris Center. Thank you so very much for joining us. A lot of great information there.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, you got it. All right, let's take another live look outside.